Krishna Sai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Shri Gurudev Ki Jai, Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai.
Agyanam timirandasya Gyananjana salakaya Chaksuranmilitam yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadai Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadavaktaya Namo Namaha. Manupeta Krityam Dvaipayano Virahaka Taruvajuhava Putreti Tanmayataya Taruvo Benedus Tang Sarvabhutaridayam Munimanatosmi Bhaktya Vihinai Aparadalakshay Chiptasya Kamadi Tarangamadi Kripamai Tvam Sharanam Prapadyam Brinde Namaste Charanarvindam Tavai Vasmi Najivami Thambina Iti Vigyaya Radhe Tam Nayamam Charanam. Haridas, can you make this louder? Kripayati Yadi Radha Padita Sheshabadha Kimapada Vishishtam Pushti Marya Dayorme Yadi Vadati Chakinchit Smeraha Sodita Shir Dvijavaramani Panktya Mukti Shukya Tadakyam Shama Sundar Shikanda Shekara Smeraha Samurali Manohara Radhika Mam Kripanidhe Swapriya Charanakin Kari Kuru Prananatha Vrishabhanu Nandani Sri Mukhabjara Salola Satapada Radhika Padatale Kritastitim Tam Bhajami Kendra Sambhadaya Dashani Trinam Vibho Vartaye Brajamahendra Nandana Astu Mohantavati Ballabha Janma Janmani Madhisvari Priya. Can somebody make this louder? First, I offer my unlimited obeisances in the dust of the lotus feet of my most worshipful Diksha Gurudev. Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Astotra Sat Shri Srimad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada. And the same unlimited obeisances in the dust of the lotus feet of my most worshipful Shiksha Gurudev. Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Astotra Sat Shri Srimad Srila Bhakti began Bharati Goswami Maharaj, and to our grandfather gurus, Shri Srimad Bhakti began Keshava Goswami Maharaj, and Sri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, to all of his divine associates, and to all our Gaudiya Guru Varga, and to all the assembled devotees, and the assembled devotees, Diksha Gurus, who are my Shiksha Gurus, Sri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta, Madhav Maharaj, Sri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta, Ban Maharaj, and Sri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Siddhanti Maharaj. So I was hesitant to speak about the following subject if there were going to be new people, like there usually are new people, but perhaps because of the rains, I'm not sure. There are no new people today. So I want to discuss today. Today is a very auspicious day. It's the day that Srila Gurudev began his world preaching in Holland. And the first lecture that he gave in Holland, they called Srila Prabhupada's Legacy, because Srila Gurudev is speaking about his history with Srila Prabhupada. First, not within his experience. Well, within his experience, because he met Srila Prabhupada in 1946, which is a year before I was born, and years before ISKCON was born. Once, when his Gurudev, that is Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, was giving a lecture, and there were so many people in the audience, and our Srila Prabhupada, who was known back at that time as just Abhay Charan Day, Grihastha, he came in the back, way in the back, because there was such a big audience. And our Param Gurudev, that is Gurudev's Gurudev, that is Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Goswami Maharaj, he called Srila Prabhupada way to the front and requested him to sit next to him on his elevated seat. That was the first time Srila Gurudev had seen him. And then Gurudev's Gurudev, our Param Gurudev, ordered Gurudev to get to know Prabhupada and to serve him. So that's when their relationship began. Before Prabhupada came to America, they had a lot of interesting experiences together. Prabhupada wrote him one letter that our relationship is transcendental, just like my meaning Prabhupada's relationship with my guru, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And when Prabhupada was trying to start a temple called the League of Devotees in Jhansi, the owners of the building were trying to cheat Prabhupada. First they said he could preach as he liked, then they tried to control him. So Srila Gurudev and Param Gurudev went there and got him out of there safely. And Prabhupada gave them his Mahaprabhu deity, like about that tall, very golden, and that was brought to Srila Gurudev's temple in Mathura, called Sri Keshavji Gaudiya Math, and that deity is still worshipped there in great pomp and veneration, along with the deities of Radha and Krishna. Then Prabhupada was actually Gurudev, who, of course, this is just pastimes, but in the pastimes, in Prabhupada's human-like pastimes, it was Srila Gurudev who insisted that he take sannyas at that time. At that time means 1959. Prabhupada was a householder. Of course, he had children, but he wasn't that interested. He wasn't really interested at all, because he descended from the spiritual realm and was only pretending to be a conditioned soul who was advancing. At least that's what we learned from our Guru Varga, and that's what all Prabhupada's disciples understand, also by many things that he said. For example, he wrote in a letter, "There isn't one time in my life that I can ever remember when I've ever forgotten Krishna." So, I forgot where I was at. Where was I just at? Right. So, just like Narada Muni came to Krishna after performing Ras Leela and the Leela of killing the Keshi demon, Narada came to him and said, "Well, I'm glad that you're having such a good time here in Vrindavan, but you ought to remember your duties to your parents in Mathura." That is, Narada Muni was trying to bring Krishna over to the Vasudev side. That is, in his opulence, he is the sometimes four-armed Vishnu feature, but he's still Krishna. He was trying to bring him over to that side, because actually Krishna was looking for a reason to leave Vrindavan, because Krishna's whole life and soul is everybody in Vrindavan, of course, but mostly the gopis. And Krishna was experiencing more and more that even when the gopis were with him, they, and especially Srimati Radhika, would feel separation, right even when they're sitting next to each other. And then she would faint and weep and melt a whole lake. Her heart would melt into a lake called Prem Sarovara. So Krishna's thinking, well, I'm having a harder and harder time. In fact, it's not possible anymore to console Radharani and the gopis in their imagined feelings. They actually felt it, but the imagination was that they were separated. They weren't separated. But their feelings of separation, even while I'm with them. So, but I also notice that when I'm not there, then Radharani and the gopis are very happy, and they dress themselves, they're eating nicely, because they're imagining that Krishna is there. Like sometimes Radharani would imagine that a tamal tree is Krishna because it has some of Krishna's features, like it's dark, and especially if yellow flowers are winding around the bottom of the tree, she'll imagine that it's Krishna's dhoti, and then she'll talk with him and embrace him. Even the cloud, she'll think that that's Krishna. And if she's in man, or transcendental loving, jealous anger, she'll say, not O cloud, but O Krishna, I don't want to have any more relationship with you. You can just go back to your other lover. So Krishna's thinking, it's better, I won't be happy but it's better if I leave Vrindavan in a permanent way. Then they'll always see me and they'll always be happy. Of course, one of the features of Prem is that it's crooked and it's mad, just like people in this material world are mad. Like yesterday, some of us went to the design district, which you might as well call a fashion show. It was no fashion show, but it was like that. Like the people are walking. It's like a mall, a big fancy mall, a few minutes from here. And you'd see a lady walking, well, you'd see a kid, and he'd be looking in the window of a store, and there's a reflection, and he'd say, "Look at me." And then they never grow up, because the lady is all decked out, and she's walking by herself with her camera and fixing her hair and taking pictures at different angles. Like, again, look at me. Like, that's the center. My pus, blood, stool, and urine. Why did I say that? Anybody remember?
Asking Prabhupada to take sannyas, Srila Maharaj was encouraging him.
Right, but
Like Narada Muni encourages Krishna.
yeah, then how did we get to that? Huh? People are crazy, exactly. That was it. So where does this come from? It's a perverted reflection of everything is mad. Everyone is mad in the spiritual world. So Krishna was thinking that if I leave permanently, then they'll always feel my presence. It didn't work like that. Their separation increased. Sometimes they felt his presence, but generally they felt separation and were in the mood of dying without him. So Krishna decided to leave, and so he made arrangements that Narada Muni would come and remind him that he has a duty, that he came to the material world to kill the demons and protect the pious. And don't forget, your father is in jail and he's being kicked. He and your mother are being kicked in the chest by the big boots of Kamsa. You have to come and protect them. And at the same time, Akrura came, Krishna's uncle, and said that he's being invited to Mathura to watch a wrestling match. So when Krishna desires anything, all the circumstances form around him to make that happen. So just as Narada, back to the original point, just as Narada is reminding Krishna, who already knows in his head what he wants to do, similarly, Srila Gurudev was trying to convince our Srila Prabhupada to take sannyas because he was making less and less money for his family by Krishna's arrangement. He's working in a chemical factory, he's having his own shops, he's making his medicine himself and going around person to person to sell it. Everything was failing. And finally, his family kicked him out of the house because what good are you? So Prabhupada ended up in Mathura. This is in the late 50s. And he was living in Mathura, but he was staying by the Jamuna in Vrindavan. And when Gurudev heard about that, he went there, grabbed all of his luggage, and said, "You have to stay in our mutt with us." So Prabhupada was there doing his writing his, for example, his first volume of Srimad Bhagavatam, and giving lectures just like his Bhagavatam. That is, so here's the verse, here's the word-for-word meanings, here's the translation, here's the purport, and he would ask Srila Gurudev to lead the different bhajans. And there was a great, beautiful rapport between Prabhupada and the devotees, particularly Gurudev, in the Mathura Mutt, Mathura Gaudiya Mutt, Keshavji Gaudiya Mutt. So then in 1959, Gurudev was telling him, you know, you haven't come here to this material world to sell Ayurvedic medicine. You came here because you have a mission. So it's important for you to take sannyas. Otherwise, you won't be able to do your mission. And Prabhupada said, yes. As soon as I joined, as soon as I got initiated, I was studying the Bhagavatam, and I came across Krishna saying, Harisye tadanam sanai. Anyone who I particularly favor, I take everything away from him. And Prabhupada said, and I've experienced that already. Like when he first took sannyas, he was gored by a bull and fell down. And he was thinking, what is this? I've just given up everything and now I'm gored by a bull. Oh, I understand. Krishna wants to show me that, oh Krishna, you are the only... And then his voice trailed off. So Gurudev said, yes, so take sannyas immediately. And my Guru Maharaj is coming in a couple of days, and I'll talk to him about it too, which Gurudev did. Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj came to Mathura, and Gurudev said, can you please talk to him about taking sannyas? He's so qualified. And that's exactly what his Guru Maharaj did. And Prabhupada said the same thing that he did to Srila Gurudev, that I was hesitant, but I did not give up my bhakti sadhana. I had a feeling, I knew that Krishna was going to take everything away, and he did. So then, continuing the purport of that verse, and if Krishna sees that the devotee doesn't go away, but he keeps determinedly practicing and taking Krishna's shelter, then he gives everything to that person, which, as you know, Prabhupada experienced when he came to America. Before he came to America, he was kind of poverty-stricken then, and as you know, he came to America with 40 rupees, which was unchangeable into dollars. So he really literally had nothing. So before he came to America, he was selling his Back to Godhead magazines, and he would ask for donations like 5 rupees, 10 rupees. So one of his godbrothers told him, don't go, it's so hot, you'll faint. And Prabhupada said, no, I have to get these donations so I can continue my printing. And I have to pick up, somebody promised me 5 rupees. So his godbrother said, look, here's 10 rupees, don't go out.
Was that godbrother Srila Bhakti Vilas Goswami?
It could have very well been. Huh?
Bhaktivedanta Madhav Maharaj. I was just reading
You sure?
last night, yeah.
Oh, great, okay. All right, good. All these godbrothers were so great in their qualities. So then, Prabhupada was still apparently, by pastime, a little bit hesitant. So then Prabhupada's godbrother, who was 99 years old, sometimes he said 95, his name was Sanatan Prabhu. He said, look, if you take sannyas, then I'll also take sannyas. So Prabhupada said, and I'm relating this from Srila Gurudev's first lecture in the West, which was in Holland. Why did he go to Holland? Because one of his disciples, Brajanath Prabhu, who ended up taking him all over the world repeatedly, that's where he was from, so he knew that he could get a good audience. And Gurudev was saying when Prabhupada first came to America, there was nobody to welcome him. But when I came to the West, I have a big kirtan at the airport welcoming me. I couldn't imagine this. It's all due to His mercy, and I'm here in the West due to His mercy. I'm seeing the miracle that He did. So Prabhupada, Gurudev went on speaking about Srila Prabhupada's glories, how just in a couple of years he spread Krishna consciousness all over the world, printed so many books. And then when Prabhupada first came to America, he wrote to Srila Gurudev and he said, please come and join me. So Gurudev wrote back, I can't join you now because my Gurudev gave me this mission, like in Mathura and Vrindavan and other cities. But then, so many years later, he said, when he was in America, when Gurudev was in America, but now I see he's dragging me. Now this is the right time when I'm supposed to be here, because a couple of days before Prabhupada left the world, when he invited Gurudev, Prabhupada was in Vrindavan at the Krishna Balaram Mandir, and Gurudev was in Mathura, and Prabhupada told his secretaries to go to Mathura and pick him up. And that's when they were speaking, and Gurudev wanted to sit on a chair near Srila Prabhupada's bed, but Prabhupada forced him to sit actually on the bed. And Prabhupada said, I made an offense. Please tell my godbrothers to forgive me for making this offense. What offense did you make? That in order to inspire my fledgling disciples who needed anything and everything to become enthusiastic, I told them, and I also wrote, that my godbrothers don't do anything. They just ring the bells and eat and sleep. But I know they're doing so. They were, at that time, they also had already thousands of disciples. But why did I do that? Just to make my disciples, who were just babies, enthusiastic, thinking, yes, we're the pioneers. We're Prabhupada's disciples. No one's doing anything. It's us. We have to work hard. So Gurudev said, no, you didn't make any offense. Sometimes the acharyas have to do those things for their very young disciples. And then Prabhupada requested him that after I go, I want you to take care of my disciples. Now I've taken them as far as they can go, but because of their lack of sukritis and sanskars, they could only go so far. So I want you to complete their journey. And so Gurudev said, I promise I will do that to my very last breath. Then just to jump forward a bit, when we were with Srila Gurudev in California, Los Angeles or some city near that, Gurudev was invited to a house program, and a certain institution was already calling all of their life members, all of their any kind of members, putting it on bulletin boards, any way they could get the message out, don't go there, because Srila Narayan Maharaj is against Srila Prabhupada. Why do they say that? Because he was so, and still is, so absolutely attractive. They know that they knew that he would steal the hearts of all the members of that institution. So when Gurudev was there at that house program, he was just standing up. Some of us were standing around him. And he said, so they say I shouldn't come. And Prabhupada said, you should come, you must come. So who should I listen to, Prabhupada or them? So it was 1996 that Srila Gurudev began his first world touring, because when the institution made an amazingly big effort to stop everybody from going to see Srila Gurudev. And Gurudev said, first, I was just happy to be in Vrindavan, but since this is happening, then I have to be like a lion jumping across the ocean, which he did. Then my experience with Srila Prabhupada began in 1966, when Prabhupada ordered me to paint for his temples. First there was only one temple, then two temples. And as you know, it came to over 100. To first paint for his temples, and then paint for his books. And then in 9 years later, he put the devotees on a 2-month marathon to publish 17 books. He kept us very busy to keep us off the streets. Everything that Gurudev is teaching is all in Prabhupada's books. It sometimes comes out in his lectures, but generally it's concealed. And it's generally concealed in his books until you know where to look. Because the nature of his books is that, or the nature of any Acharya's books, is that part of the books is meant for someone now, and part of the books is meant for the same person for later, 10 years later, 20 years later, 30 years later, but he's not meant to see it at that time. Or he may see the words, but the meanings won't come to his heart. Also, the Acharya's books are for one person now, and not for another person now. So in that way, they're alive, actually. So then in 1996, after Holland, he went to Los Angeles, where it was very interesting. They just continued their lecture when he walked into, about 20 of us were with him. When he walked into the temple, they just continued their lecture. And so then he went up to Prabhupada's quarters and began speaking. And then he went to Badger. So Los Angeles wasn't very receptive. It was receptive, but the receptiveness was squished by the leaders. And so the next place he went was Badger, California. And he was extremely well received. Everyone was so happy. They gave him proper seat. They gave him opportunity for speaking, leading the kirtans, initiating. And so Gurudev said at that time that Srila Prabhupada, you know how parents leave a bond for their children? Like, okay, you can't touch this bond until $500, $5,000, $5 million. You can't touch it until you're 21. Because if you were little and you were able to touch it, then you just buy 6,000 pieces of bubble gum or something like that. So he said, the bond is me. I came to give you that bond. Because now Prabhupada wants you to come to the next stage of going more and more into the depths of his books and his lectures, not just reading it surfacely. He says you have to go deep, deeper, and deepest into his books. Then he explained that he gave 3 really wonderful analogies, which was, one is I'm giving you the shovel to dig deeper into his books. 2, I'm giving you the spotlight so you can see what's in his books more clearly. And 3, I'm giving you the key to unlock the treasures in his books. Like, for example, there's a treasure chest, and the basic treasure chest was already available to everyone, as we know. Millions, like to date, even almost 750 million of his books were distributed in 70 languages. So the treasure chest was open for all. But inside the treasure chest, is this getting louder? Louder? Yep, it's possible. Inside the treasure chest, there's a smaller treasure chest, which has more valuable treasures in it. But that one's locked. So he said one would need the key to unlock that more valuable treasure chest. And that key is in the hands of the Mahabhagavad. That is the devotee who's on Prabhupada's level. He said, and I'm doing all that. So then, Gurudev, as you know, went all over the world. I think it was 14 times, I could be wrong. Could have been 30. I know one of them was 14, another one was 30. So, like, for example, how he would encourage everyone to go deeper into what Prabhupada gave. In fact, once during Kartik, my first Vrindavan parikrama with him, he told me that Prabhupada has given you the almond, you know an almond, and I'm crushing the almond to make it into almond oil. If the almond wasn't there, there's no question of an almond oil. So nobody but Prabhupada in the West could have given that almond. So he's not saying that Prabhupada just gave the ABCs. Because many times he said, I'm showing you what's actually there, that you have no idea what's there. Like in the Ramananda Rai Sambad, in Srimad Bhagavatam, all the depths that are there. So for example, when he was in Houston one day, he said, so you're doing arati. You're doing arati, but you're not knowing what you're doing when you're doing arati. It's just some exercises of the chamara and the other paraphernalia. So Krishna's thinking, he's on the other end of it, on the altar, and he's thinking, this guy's doing exercises and I'm hungry. So he said, how to think while we're doing arati, for example. If even not to think that for the pujari, not to think that the pujari's doing the arati. But if he's actually doing his job, he'll think that Lalita and Vishaka are doing arati, and I'm just watching. Because that's the real arati. And what is the meaning of arati? Huh? Yeah. Oh, it means come, Hindi. Rati. Oh Rati. Oh Bhav Bhakti. Oh Prema Bhakti. Please come. But there's another meaning as well. You could sit up here, Lavanga. It's right here. Okay. Is that I'm taking away your obstacles. So when the gopis do arati to Srimati Radhika, and like they might even offer arati with their braid, which is black. signifying, may Krishna be under you, or may all your obstacles to meeting with Krishna be obliterated. So Gurudev would explain the different meanings, and then when the lamp is offered, he said you can think, not that just that I'm offering some warmth and some nice scent, but think that when Krishna comes home in the afternoon or early evening from tending the cows, Mother Yasoda is doing the arti. That is, she's not really doing arti in worship of Krishna, but she's making a lamp go around Krishna's face and body to see if he has any scratch marks. She's thinking, those boys are so naughty. And then wiping, because after you do the lamp, then you do the water and the conch shell, and then you wipe that with a handkerchief. So then she will wash the scratch marks with her veil and then dry it with her veil. Or you can think how in the early morning Radha and Krishna are asleep in the forest kunj, and the gopis are doing arti, that is they're revolving the lamp around Radha and Krishna, trying to see if there are any scratches, and then they would wash the scratches off and also dry them, and also do other varied kinds of services. So, in other words, in different places, he's giving different moods. That he said, now Prabhupada wants you to come up to the next step. And he sent me for that. He's given me the water because he's planted so many seeds, and some of them have become saplings, some of them have become sprouts. So he gave me the water of chanting and hearing and told me to waterize you all so that you'll grow into full blooming lotuses, at which time you'll be qualified to engage in the direct service of Radha and Krishna. Srila Gurudev actually got about 300 letters from Prabhupada, and some of them were kept. Maybe only 12 of them remained, because the team that was doing the Lilamrita borrowed them, and then there was a big fire, and only 12 that he didn't give them remained. So that became a little book called Letters from Abroad, I think. All right, so then, as Prabhupada in the very beginning, when I was a total space case, and I just got off of drugs, like LSD and crazy things like that, and so when I would paint, like he gave me a couple of paintings, thank you Haridas, he gave me, see, we could be proud of him.
It's a good problem.
Huh?
We have to gauge we have the hallway problem or not.
The what?
We have to gauge like the amount of people, if the hallway problem is rising or not. That's a good sign, because there's more people.
Yeah. Where are we? I forgot.
Paintings given to you by Prabhupada
Paintings?
for reference.
You just got off LSD.
Hmm?
You were saying that you just,
You're refreshing Prabhupada,
Yeah.
you're coming down.
Right, so I was spacing out. I was painting and spacing and painting and spacing. So just like Krishna took the bright side when Putana came to kill him, disguised as a beautiful mother. So Prabhupada took the bright side. And he said, yes, any creative person has to think more than they do. Just like a judge in court. Like he'll hear both sides, and he doesn't give the verdict right away. He goes and talks with his jury and he thinks, and then comes back with his verdict, punishment or reward. So Prabhupada was taking the bright side there. And then he gave the example. He said, for example, Jayadev Goswami was writing about the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. Then he came to a point, because Krishna was actually dictating the book to him. And Krishna dictated something in his heart that he couldn't accept, which was that this Seva Kunj painting, that Krishna is bowing down to Radharani and saying, please forgive me, please place the dust of your lotus feet on my head to cool down the heat of my feelings of separation. So Jayadev Goswami was thinking, how is this possible? Although Radharani is his best devotee, she's still his devotee. How could he place his head at her feet and ask for her feet on his head? So he told his wife, Padmavati, I have to go and think about this. I'll go and take a bath in the river, and then I'll come back and continue the book. So while he was gone, the asked for his book, and he wrote the rest of that verse. And so then he left, and then Jayadev came back very shortly after that. And so his wife Padmavati said, how did you get back so quickly? So he said, I didn't get back so quickly. Remember, I left a long time ago. She said, I know you left a long time ago, but then you came back and wrote the rest of this verse, and then you left, and very soon you came back, but the river is far away, because now his hair is wet. So he said, wait a minute, let me see that book, and his writing book. And so he saw that in golden letters, the writing was completed. Smaragara Lakhandanam, you know it? Mamashira Shimandalam, Mandanam, Dehi Parapalavam Udaram. Udara means magnanimity. Be magnanimous to me and put your lotus feet on my head. So when he saw that, he said, oh, you're so fortunate. That was Krishna who came and completed that verse. And then they both wept and fainted in ecstasy. So here we go. That was 1966. Let's jump to 1992, when one day I was I had no desire to paint again, because it was too much struggle, all those paintings from a white canvas, trying to get the spiritual world if you're a conditioned soul. So just for a relationship, Sambandha, I said to him, yeah, so I used to paint for Prabhupada's books, and so I have some slides. Would you like to see them? This was around August. And he agreed, so I showed him the big slides. And he said, oh, then he went into his Almira, you know, the glass thing that has books in it. And so he pulled out one of his Chaitanya Charitamrita volumes. It was a picture of Krishna and the gopis splashing in Radha Kund. He said, did you do that? I said, yeah. Back in the 70s. He said, oh, come with me. So he walked with me right next to the next room. This was in Mathura. To the next room, where on one of the beds, it wasn't quite a bed because it didn't have a mattress, just a the wooden frame. He had a painting which was about 2 feet by 3 feet of the same scene done by an Indian artist. He said, I paid 3,000 rupees for that picture, that painting. What's that? No. What are we talking about? The splashing. Yes. This is the painting of splashing.
No, just bottom half of the camera. Now it's good.
I paid 3,000 rupees for this painting, but I'm not at all satisfied. Then he asked me, can you make them look younger? So I said, I can make them look younger, but then you have the rest of the painting, which wouldn't match. So then he told me to start from scratch, and then he gave me a little picture, Indian print, and then he just kept giving me more and more details to make that one over there, even telling me what's in the jars, what they're thinking, how they're experiencing Kilakinchita Bhav. Like I'd read about Kilakinchita Bhav because I especially had to, because we were doing the paintings for his Chaitanya Charitamrita. So I had to read everything as the other artists did so that we could pick out pictures. But it didn't mean anything to me. What is Kilakinchita Bhav? When you have 7 contrary emotions that are going on at the same time, but they're contradictory, like laughing and weeping, flirting, playing hard to get. Those are 2 examples. But then Gurudev was insisting that we study the meanings of those terms and try to realize the meaning of the term. So again, he was being that shovel to teach us how to dig deeply into Srila Prabhupada's books. And so Radharani's a little angry, yet she's smiling. Krishna's shy, he's feeling guilty, yet he's smiling. They're both weeping. And so that's an example of Kilakinchita Bhav. But part of his theme all over the world, and before he went all over the world in Vrindavan and Mathura, was that come beyond tattva-gyan, philosophical consideration, and love Radha and Krishna, and personally serve them in the kunjas, in the forests. So I asked him, well, if that's our goal, that love, then what's the use of all these terms? And so he said, well, suppose I'm telling you that Radha and Krishna were experiencing Kilakinchita Bhav. What would you get out of that? So that you can come to the next stage. I'll jump to, what's happening with the offering? Okay, I'll jump to, you could go on for hours talking about experiences. In fact, I don't think there's any of you who don't have my Art of Spiritual Life. Does anybody not have it? Okay, nobody. So there I have 66 to 77, like 10 years with Prabhupada, and then my first year with Srila Gurudev, 1992. So there's about 100 pastimes there. Anyway, let's jump till his nearing, like 2010, because he left at the end of 2010, the end of December. So about a year before then, he was giving classes in Mathura, and generally the temple is on the second floor, and then you go up to the third floor, and that's where his quarters were. And so going from the stairway to his quarters, there were two big lumps of devotees, two big groups, and they would leave a room in the middle for him to pass by and go to his room. So I walked forward and I said, "What are we going to do after you go? How will we know who to go to?" And he said, "Don't worry, I will arrange, I will arrange attached bathrooms for all of you in Goloka Vrindavan." What does that mean? It means, don't worry, I'll take care of everything. I'll guide you. Because the guidance doesn't stop. Even, and most of you know that, or some of you know that, a lot of times when I can't answer a question that somebody else asks me, or I can't answer my own question, then I message Sripad Bhaktivedanta Madhav Maharaj, who's coming on the 7th of this month and staying until the 14th, to our good fortune. And then he would always get back to me the next day or the same day. And then one time when he was a little bit late, because I had been thinking, oh, Gurudev never answers me. Well, at least Madhav Maharaj answers me. And so one time when he was a little bit late, he said, Gurudev chastised me. And he said, "You mean you didn't answer her yet?" So I know that he was involved with all the connection and the questions. Means we're still being guided by him. And you can talk to him directly. It's not that you have to do it through me or any other of your spiritual masters. You can just talk to him. You can talk to Prabhupada, you can talk to Rupa Goswami. But of course, first is we want to go up the line from the closest to the further.
You said Gurudev chastised him after Gurudev had already left this world, or this was like...
No, this is just a few months ago. Just like he said about Srila Prabhupada Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, that so when he was put in samadhi, those of you who don't know what samadhi means, it means it's how do you say it? It's like burial, but it's a sacred, transcendental burial. And they throw in salt and what else? Salt and write mantras on the chest. Yeah, samadhi mantras, or mantras for becoming a maidservant of Radharani. When my godbrothers asked what those mantras were, he wouldn't tell. They were secret. What point was I about to make? Oh, right. So we were in Los Angeles with Gurudev, and he said he said when he goes into samadhi, then he will guide from the samadhi forever. And he also told us there that somebody asked me, means Gurudev, somebody asked me, where is Srila Prabhupada Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur now? That is our Srila Prabhupada's Prabhupada. And so Gurudev said that was a question that I had not been asked before. So I gave an answer that he's in every atom. Just like Lord Nrsingadev, we were quoting him the other day, saying Lord Nrsingadev is everywhere you look, inside and outside. So similarly, all of our acharyas are like that. And he said the same thing about our Prabhupada, that he's also in every atom. And just like Krishna never left the gopis in the Rasa Leela, rather he was hiding just to hear their words of love and separation. He said, so Srila Prabhupada is like that too now. That's one of the first things that attracted me to him, that he said that. And both of them were pushing the art. Like Prabhupada wrote so many letters, at least 50 letters, answering questions about the art. No, I mean, I got 91 letters from him, but maybe 80 were about the art, answering questions. What does this look like? Did this person have a mustache? How big should we make Lord Brahma coming out of Garbhodakshai Vishnu's womb? So many questions. And in those same letters, he would tell the importance of the art, which kept me going, because I loved book distribution, but I didn't love painting. So I asked if I could just switch. He said, no, your specific talent is painting, so you have to continue. But you can go on book distribution every once in a while, because even in spiritual life, variety makes one more fit for work. But then he would write so many things about the importance of the painting. Like, I think I mentioned the other day that he was talking with one of his brahmacharis about college preaching. And then when I peeped in the room, he turned to me and he said, you should flood the world with these paintings. Let's see, what else did he write? Srila Prabhupada. And what else did he say? He said, these paintings, Krishna's philosophy must be illustrated, but it must be according to the parampara revelation of the absolute truth. And he said the paintings in his books have to be done with many rich colors to show that the spiritual world is not void, but it is full of color form activities. And similarly, Srila Gurudev used to push us on with that service and say that even if they don't know what the painting is, they'll get sukritis, or spiritual pious merits, by looking at them. And one day they'll come and take shelter of a bona fide guru. Another thing that he said was, because for Gurudev there was a lot of confidential paintings, like the ones you see on the wall. So I said, is it okay to distribute posters of those freely? And he said, yes, even if someone is a butcher, he can get these posters and it will give him sukritis. All right, so I'm going to end here and ask if there's any questions. Yes. Loud. Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol. Dandavats. I was wondering if you could speak a bit more, since we were just recently on the topic of Samadhi, about Gurudev's involvement in Prabhupada's illness pastimes, his Samadhi preparation, and clarify the specific orders he received from Srila Prabhupada. I've always wondered this.
Well, in the art of spiritual life, fortunately, we had sound files. And so I have and many people have, the exact conversation. Prabhupada called for him, and then when he was sitting on Prabhupada's bed, you could read it, it's 1977. Prabhupada put Srila Gurudev's hand in his own hand and said, I want you to help my disciples. I told you that already. I want you to give me samadhi. And then Gurudev gave instructions to Prabhupada's secretaries exactly what to do to set up the samadhi situation. And then we have photos and also a description of Srila Gurudev going into the pit and doing arati to Srila Prabhupada and covering him with the sand and salt. Salt is for preserving. And guiding my godbrothers what to do when. And then writing with sandalwood. Sandalwood represents unguents. You know, a lady's unguents, like kumkum and a guru, but it's just done with the sandalwood. In fact, if you look at the book, you can see the pictures. And then above the exact place of Prabhupada's divine form, you know, they marked that, and then everything was built around that. But you can see more details there. Is that
Okay.
okay?
Did he have any specific? Did Gurudev have any specific comments about how the process went through and what transpired after? Did he have any comments on this?
I'm not following the question.
Did Gurudev have any like reflections on this pastime with Prabhupada, this whole experience of preparing his samadhi and everything that was following after the troubles?
The troubles?
A lot of people were very, of course, disturbed and sad with the passing of the Acharya. So really I'm wondering like what was his, if you could speak more about his role in this and his
Well,
comments after.
Also, he guided the whole samadhi ceremony, taking Prabhupada's transcendental body to, which was under, Prabhupada told him to take it to the 7 main temples of Vrindavan, give Prabhupada darshan. And he told the disciples when he was meeting his last meeting with Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada called all the devotees to come close and to listen to Gurudev's instructions, at which time he told them, don't quarrel, he's not really leaving. Cooperate, the same instructions that Prabhupada gave them. And then there was thousands of devotees under Gurudev's leadership of what to sing when. And before Prabhupada left, just before, he instructed Gurudev to arrange for the singing of Shri Rupa Manjari Pada. Shri Rupa Manjari Pada. And Gurudev said, this is the best kirtan for entering Raganuga Bhakti, or spontaneous love. He said, I also sang this for my Guru Maharaj just before his disappearance. And yeah, there are some pictures in that book. And then after there's always confusion and turmoil. But Gurudev said that Prabhupada asked me to take care of the disciples. So ever since the beginning, he was there. Some people came to him in the 70s, some in the 80s. A big bunch came in the 90s, including myself, and then an amazingly big bunch when he started his world tour. I don't know if that answered your question. Any other questions?
Yes. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So I was reading some of the letters that Srila Prabhupada wrote to different disciples, and including you. And I think he even sent an email about it in terms of one of the letters early on that he wrote to you, where I think you mentioned that Srila Gurudev said that it either Prabhupada didn't write that letter, or it was someone must have maybe dictated it wrong, or
You mean the 6 Goswamis?
yeah, that
I
one.
thought that was going to be your question when you
Yeah.
started. All right, so there's an apparent letter from Srila Prabhupada to me where Prabhupada supposedly said that of the 6 Goswamis, only 2 of them are eternal associates, and the rest became associates later. So yes, when that was shown to Gurudev a few times, he said it's not possible that Prabhupada could have written that because he's teaching in so many other places and also in the kirtans, in the Acharya's kirtans. It says that one should understand that all of them are eternal associates. So yeah, he didn't write that, but there's a lot of things that sometimes the secretary would write, or Prabhupada may give a hint, and then the secretary would write the rest, or they didn't edit it properly.
Hare Krishna Guru Devi.
Same thing with the women, the whole women's thing. Like in 1968, the first Bhagavad Gita came out. I'm just repeating now a class that Gurudev gave in 2005 in Holland. So, yes, so the 1968 little purple Bhagavad Gita came out, and there it said, anyone who surrenders to me, even low-born, kama, women, kama, Vaishyas, kama, Sudra, if they surrender to me, they can reach the highest destination. And then Gurudev had one of my godbrothers read the 1972, which came a few years later, version of the Gita, which says, anyone who surrenders to me, even the low-born, N dash, women, Vaishyas, Sudras. Do you get the difference? So like that's an example of a tiny thing that made all the difference.
I had a question.
Also, there's, like, even if he did say it, what does he mean by that? There's a lot of misinterpretation on his meaning. Like, let's say he says, the less intelligent woman class will be exploited by unscrupulous men, the Bhagavad Gita. So that doesn't mean that there are more intelligent women class who won't be exploited. You know what I mean? Okay. So therefore, it's best to understand Shri Radharaman Bihari Jeev Ki Jai, to understand the scriptures in the light of the association of pure devotees. And Gurudev would always say, especially back in 96, that only a Mahabhagavad can understand another Mahabhagavad. Even if one is a Diksha disciple, he can't understand necessarily, but a Mahabhagavad can. Any other questions?
I had a question regarding what you had mentioned of Lalita and Vishak, Vishaka. Who are Lalita and Vishaka? And then I had a follow-up.
Who are
question.
they?
Yes.
All right, so there's only Radha and Krishna, the supreme powerful and the supreme power that manifest all of existence, spiritual and material. But the power manifests itself in different ways in order to please Krishna in different ways. You don't want to unveil it because it doesn't look like anything with the plastic on it. If anybody wants to get a G-clay. So, like, let's say I have lots of moods. They're all in me, and that's all. There's nothing I can do about it. But Radharani has unlimited moods, and those unlimited moods manifest as her friends and her enemies to create tension for more interest. If something's very easy, it's not as interesting as if there's obstacles. So she also creates rivals. Lalita and Vishaka are her most intimate friends, and they assist. They're the biggest assistants in the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. So they do arati in order to take away Radharani's obstacles. So a devotee who's really a devotee, even if he's doing the arati, like somebody who's not really advanced and he's doing arati, he's thinking, I'm doing the arati and everybody's watching me. But a devotee who really is a devotee, he will think that I'm not doing arati. Lalita and Vishaka are doing arati. And then some apparently insignificant person way in the back of the room, he'll just be sitting in a corner and weeping because he's thinking, oh, Lalita and Vishaka are doing arati. So who knows who's advanced in what?
And I had a follow-up question to that.
Well, here, for example, here's Radha and Krishna, who make up all of existence. And then these are her friends, Lalita, Vishaka. These are her 8 main friends. Chitra, Champakalata, Tungavidya, Induleka. And then there are also 4 manjaris. Basically, the head ones are Rupa Manjari and Rati Manjari. Oh, and this is Sudevi and Rangadevi. They're sisters.
Wow. Thank you so much, Guru Devi. I think this follow-up question I had, because I was reading from The Secret Truths of Srimad Bhagavatam this morning, and in
Good.
it was Srila Goswami Maharaj was saying how
Who was saying?
Srila Narayan Goswami Maharaj was saying how that Rupanuga Bhakti is actually a focus of the Vaishnavas, because he was basically mentioning how a story of this great yogi who he had done all the artis and done all this process, but then at the end of his life there was a deer that was drowning, and then he rescued the deer, and his focus was on the deer, and he kind of like it was like a cause of separation from him and Krishna. So then his next birth was as a deer, and then he was more careful in his next birth to actually. So I was reading that part, and then he was saying how actually, and maybe I misinterpreted this, but he was saying that the focus at the time of death is not actually in merging into Krishna, like the Mayavadi might think, like a oneness thing, but actually is Rupanuga. And so I wanted to like maybe get clarification on that, like is our focus on essentially maybe being a maidservant, or like the Rupanuga part, I guess, is what's confusing to me. Yeah, thank you. Hari Bol.
Okay. So, what is Rupanuga? What is Raganuga? What is Ragatmika? What is Vaidhi? Gurudev went all over the world clarifying this. So Vaidhi Bhakti is what's given first. Means one realizes somewhat the futility of the world, although he's still attached. and he knows intellectually that service to Krishna is my only salvation, but he has no love and affection. It's kind of intellectual. He knows that Krishna is God, that Radharani is his power, and he goes through the motions of devotional services with attachment to the body, knowing that this is my duty to serve Krishna, because in the scriptures, the Bhagavatam, second canto says, Save pungsam paro dharmo chito bhaktir hogsajay. I was that good. Yeah. Right. The only way for the soul to become happy is to engage in service. It's the highest religion of humanity, is to serve the Lord who's transcendental to the mundane senses. And that's the only way to be happy. Okay, it's the only way to be happy. Okay, then I'll do it. It's my duty to do it. I have heard that I'm parts and parcels, and as the part should serve the whole, I should serve Krishna. So with that motive, and also I've heard that if I don't do it, then hell is awaiting. So I'll do it. That's Vaidhi Bhakti. Then, as he matures, and if he has a guru who can help him to mature, he gradually learns that, and Srila Prabhupada spoke about it a lot too. He said that's pure devotion is Raganuga Bhakti, which means I'm not doing the service because I have to. I'm doing the service because I have a genuine greed to follow in the footsteps of one of the associates of Radha and Krishna. My Gurudev told me that's who I am, and I have agreed to realize that. With that motive, he's engaging in chanting, remembering, thinking, doing puja for the deities. So what is the difference between Rupanuga and Raganuga? Rupanuga is a specific type of Raganuga. Raganuga means to follow in the footsteps of any of the Lord's associates in any rast, mother, friend, servant. Like if I know that I want to be a friend, my guru has told me that, then I'll follow Subal, the leader of Krishna's friends. And if I want to be a maidservant, which really was the main purpose of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu coming to the world. And he gave other rasas too, but that was incidental. The main thing he wanted to give is this maid service. So that's a specific category within Raganuga. So all Rupanugas are Raganuga, but not all Raganugas are Rupanuga. Which one is Lalita and Vishaka? You've mentioned them. They're no Anuga. They're the ones to follow. Can any conditioned soul in this material world follow Lalita and Vishaka? Why? How do you know? Well, the thing is, what would happen if I tried to have the same kind of mood as Lalita and Vishaka? If I meditate in my conditioned state as kissing and and embracing Krishna, what would happen? There would be transformation on this material body to lust. Therefore, it's not possible. As he said, it's not in the constitution of any conditioned soul. If somebody comes here and he's already very advanced, then he can do that type of constitution. Like there's one devotee named Chandrakanti. She developed that greed, seeing the deity. But she wasn't an ordinary living entity. She was a vibhuti, or one of the opulences of Srimati Radhika. What was the answer? What was I answering? Yeah. So Rupanuga, all Raganugas are Raganuga, but not all Raganugas are Rupanuga. And then Ragatmika, Atma, Atmika. Within their Atma, they have Rag, which is an unlimited thirst to attain Krishna's association, an unsatiable thirst. Even if they are in Krishna's association, they want closer and closer and closer and more. So that's the four. Okay, so is that it for the questions?
How you said Ragatmika would become contaminated with material desires?
Ragatmika
Yes, when they were
is a
experiencing-
personal associate. How can she become contaminated?
Or like the mood? You're saying some mood will become contaminated?
No, because Rupa Manjari is also Ragatmika.
Yes.
But if you try to follow those Ragatmika bhaktas, like Lalita and Vishaka, who are in the mood of Sambhog Ichamai.
That's what it is. Okay. That mood. So similarly...
What is the difference between Sambhog Ichamai and Tad Tad Bhava Ichatmika?
You're going to have to tell me that one.
Okay, so there are two different types of gopi moods. One is the maidservants, Tat Tad Bhava Ichatmika. Their thrill is in arranging the meetings of Radha and Krishna.
Like Lalita?
No.
No?
The Manjaris, Rupa Manjari, Rati Manjari, Ras Manjari, Guna Manjari, they are Tat Tad Bhava Ichatmika, which means they have no interest in a personal, amorous relationship with Krishna. Even if Krishna is attempting, they say, no, why do you want me to experience this lower taste? I get my higher taste when I arrange your meetings with Srimati Radhika. And you also get more taste with that. So why should I make both of us have less taste? And she'll run behind Radharani and say, save me. Swamini, save me, save me. The other kind of gopi is called Sambhog Ichamai, which means they want and are qualified for an amorous relationship with Krishna. So although their preference is to assist Radha and Krishna, they also want an amorous relation. And Radharani is happy with that. That's why there's the rasa dance, so many. But with the Manjaris, those who are Tat Bhav, they want to taste their moods coming, like whatever Radharani experiences, they experience as well.
Okay.
You get that?
I got it. Yes. That cleared it up.
So, I forgot what I was going to say. Yes, so Lalita, Radharani, they're all group leaders, and they all have millions of followers. And they all assist Radharani, that's their favorite. But they also, Radharani wants them to also have that kind of relationship
Yes.
with her in a different form. Like Lalita is no one other than Radharani's expansion with that particular mood. Very outspoken. Radharani's kind of middle, but Lalita's very outspoken. So when Radharani wants to be outspoken that much, then she becomes Lalita.
And Lolita,
One question. Was the Manjaris involved in the Ras Leela?
I once asked Gurudev if the Manjaris are involved in the Ras Leela. He said, yes, they are. Even once Prabhupada was giving an initiation in New Vrindavan. And he said, by this initiation, one day you will be able to enter into the Rasa Leela. But in what capacity? In their same capacity. For example, if Radharani's ankle bell falls off, and, well, they're dancing, so it'll fall off way far, and then Krishna will lose his enthusiasm for playing his flute, because he was playing his flute in the harmony with Radharani's ankle bells. So then the Manjari will dance over to where the ankle bell is and put it on so quickly, not to skip a beat, so that the flute playing can go on. Or they also play instruments. We're going to end class right now. And we're going to begin a kirtan. Few minutes of kirtan. Is the offering already done?
yes.
Okay, so let's do 5 minutes of kirtan. And then we will take prasadam. So all these nuances about the manjaris and the different kinds of gopis, all were given by Srila Gurudev on Prabhupada's request, taking everybody to the next step. Goa Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol. Srila Gurudev ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Gurudev's arrival in the West ki jai. Okay. So who's leading the kirtan? What about one of the guests? You want to lead on Keith or? Just Hare Krishna for 5 minutes.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Raman Vihari, Radha Raman Vihari Radhe. Jaya Nitai Gaura Hari, Jaya Nitai Gaura Hari, Jaya Nitai Gaura Hari, Jaya Gaura Hari. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Nitai Gaura
Haribo, 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 Gaur Haribo. We have some announcements actually. Jai Vasanti asked, Hare Krishna everyone, thank you so much for joining us for Sacred Sensational Sunday. So this week we have a lot going on. We're so blessed. Madhav Maharaj coming on Thursday. Next Saturday we have Mahaprabhu deity installation. He's on the way. The funds have been raised and we're still looking for sponsor for the yagya and the feast for that Saturday festival. And also we are in need of helpers from Wednesday through Saturday. Anytime you want to come to help us prepare garlands, prepare the yagya, get all the materials. We are really looking forward to this super auspicious installation, and there's a lot of work to be done. Monday yoga class, Tuesday evening, Monday morning yoga class, Tuesday evening, meditation, japa and kirtan nights. Wednesday, we have preparations for Maharaj's arrival. Thursday, he'll start giving classes, probably both mornings and evening classes. Just mornings? Yes, okay. So stay tuned for his classes, and we really appreciate your support and your help in preparing for our big installation on Saturday. This October, Vasanti Didi is leading a wonderful pilgrimage to India. And after our program today, we appreciate your support in helping clean up the temple, doing pot sweeping. You can see Raga Didi if you're interested in receiving some extra mercy. Yes, that too. They, if they're interested in helping prepare, they can see Haridas or myself, and we can get your WhatsApp confirmed for when you can come by the temple and do some wonderful seva. And today in boutique, special day, Guru Dev's arrival to America, very special, auspicious, limited offer deal. Any amount of books and art for any donation, bring to your friends. I know, we have to keep a secret, but we can definitely take advantage of this. So please get some nice gifts for your friends, those who are visiting from out of state. Yes.
Prabhupada's books, because Gurudev said, my books are supplementary and complementary to his. And they dig deep into the understanding. So we have several books like that.
You can see Gadagraja Prabhu in the boutique. Hare Krishna. We'll take prasad now.
Oh Lord, this material body is a lump of ignorance. And the senses are networks of paths leading to death. Somehow or other we've fallen into this ocean of material sense enjoyment. And of all the senses, the tongue is the most voracious and difficult to control. It is very difficult to conquer over the tongue in this world. But you, dear Krishna, are very kind. You have given us this nice prasadam, spiritual food, just to help us conquer over the tongue. Now let us take this prasadam to our full satisfaction. And in so doing, glorify the Lordship Shri Shri Radha and Krishna. And in love, call for the help of Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda Prabhu. Gaur Prema Nandi.